And I want to thank Reverend Sandy for giving me the opportunity to speak this morning. I'm not sure if you're as surprised to see me up here as I am to see you, perhaps. And I know that you're out there. I can't see all of you, but I know you can see me, so that's the important part, I guess. At any rate, it's wonderful to be here and to share some thoughts to you about a topic that I think is really a good one for us to contemplate after we've had the visioning that went on during the series of talks that we had on the virtues during this past month, because that was such a powerful way to talk about the various virtues that we need to live by and we need to have within our heart and soul all the time. So thank you for coming this morning and for being here and for being a part of this wonderful, wonderful community that we have and that we love so much. There is a wonderful quote in the Bible from the book of Proverbs, which says that where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision, the people perish. That's a pretty startling statement when you think about it, because what it means in essence is that if you don't have a vision, you're just kind of sleepwalking. You're just a statistic, so to speak. You're not really living your life to the fullest. So what I want all of us to just take a moment at the very beginning here and just ask yourself very honestly, do I have a vision for my life? Do I live my life according to a vision? Does a vision guide me? Does a vision inspire me? Does a vision enlighten me? Because this is the reason we get up in the morning, that we go to work, or go to our tasks during the day, that we live our life. This is what impels us to go forward. So I'd like to speak about that a little bit today, and I just want to say at the very beginning that I'm really indebted to Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith for a lot of these ideas on visioning, because he is considered the guru of visioning, I think, in at least in United Church, and gave us all of these thoughts and processes to go through, and we used to use these quite a bit. It hasn't been used that much in recent past, but you may have heard some of these things before, and if you haven't, it'll be the first time, and it'll be good for you to hear them. So visioning, what are we talking about? Well, visioning in its most elemental form is a process by which we open ourselves to that divine presence and allow it to come through to us what God's plan is for us. And we try to catch that plan. We try to catch a glimpse of what that plan is for us. Now, the operative words here are God's plan. God's plan. What God has in store for us. What God has implanted within us. And it's important to realize that the plan is really already there. It's already there within us. We know from our teachings and from what we've read that we are created in the image and likeness of God. So that seed within us is already implanted there. And all we have to do is allow it to grow and to take charge of us. So the seed is there. It reminds me of that beautiful parable that Jesus taught, where he says that the kingdom of God is like a mustard seed, which he says was the smallest of seeds, and I guess in biblical times it was, or considered to be. And he said this seed can grow after it's nurtured into a great big tree or a big large bush. And the birds can come down and nest in it. Now he interprets this seed as the kingdom of God, or as some Bible translators call it, God's sovereign presence. God's sovereign presence within us. And it's this seed that is implanted within us and that we have to allow to grow, to enlarge, to become a part of us, so that it becomes the very operative part of our very nature. That seed, which is God's life within us, is the impelling thing that moves us forward all the time, from start to finish. And if we live according to it, it enlarges our perspective on life. It gives us more of a sense of why we're here and what we're doing in our life. Now, the process, basically, of visioning is a process of asking ourselves, I would call it 3 basic questions. And it's very simple. It's something that we can do all the time, something we can do whenever we want to, in any situation, for whatever cause. All you have to do is sit quietly, adopt a meditative presence, allow that feeling of God's love to come into your heart and soul, and to fill you with a sense of that divine presence. And in the quiet of that moment, just ask yourself, what is God's highest vision for my life? What is God's highest vision for my life? Don't expect to be getting any blast of sound from the sky telling you what that vision is. Probably won't come that way. It may not come right then. But it will come if you keep asking yourself that question and you sincerely ask it in the depths of your being. What is God's highest vision for my life? How does Spirit see me? How does Spirit see me in this existence? What am I to do? What does it feel like? What does it seem like? How do I imagine it? We just heard that beautiful song, Imagine. What does it seem like to me that life is? Now, it's going to be different for every person. It's not going to be the same for anybody because we're all different. We all have different characteristics, different abilities. And we all have the opportunity to express this God life differently. And that's the wonderful thing about life. And it's a great thing that gives us the opportunity to be all that we can be in every situation, in every circumstance. What is God's highest vision for my life? What is God's highest vision for my life? And after we have sat with that question for a period of time and allowed it to get into our minds and into our hearts, we opened ourselves sincerely to it and allowed it to permeate us. The second question comes to mind: what is my part to play in this development of this vision in my life? What do I have to do to make this vision a reality? What is my part to play in this process? Because each of us has a part to play. Each of us has something to do. Each of us has something that we have to participate in to make this vision come alive. Because it's all up to us. When you come right down to it, it is all up to us. And that's the great thing about creation. God has given us this seed, this power, this ability, and we have to come to understand what it is and how to express it. How is this vision to become a reality in my life? What is God's vision for my life? And how can this vision become a reality? This opportunity to make this vision come alive takes courage. It takes resourcefulness. It takes the ability to think beyond the limits. And that can be scary. That can be frightening. You know how a lobster grows? A lobster grows by casting off its shell when it gets when it gets too large for it. And the lobster has to find a place to go when it's ready to do this, that's safe, protected from the elements. And as it casts off this shell so that it can grow, it has a membrane that is, at that point, very, very soft. And it takes time for that membrane to harden. And during this period, this lobster is very vulnerable. Vulnerable to the elements, to other fish eating it, to being caught. And yet, for this lobster to grow, that's what it has to do. What a great example for us. For us to be able to grow, for us to be able to know what this vision is and to begin to realize it, we have to be willing to be vulnerable, to allow ourselves to be open, to allow ourselves to listen, to allow ourselves to take the action that we need to do to make this vision come alive. What is God's highest vision for my life? And what do I need to do to make this vision become a reality? And after we have gone through those two questions in our own mind, a third question presents itself, which I think is quite important, and that is, what do I need to let go of or release for this vision to become a reality? Because for most of us, we're so tied up with all the things that we do, with our daily activities, with all the stresses and strains, that we forget that if we're going to try to develop this God life within us, we have to let some things go. Fear, for example. The fear of not being strong enough, or big enough, or smart enough. We have to be willing to let everything go in order to be able to do what it is we want to do. If you want to get more education, if you want a new job, if you want a greater relationship, you need to let go of whatever it is that holds you back from not being able to do this. And you would do everything possible to take yourself forward to make sure that this is going to happen. All of us need to release certain things within our life that are hindrances to this vision becoming a reality. So what is God's highest vision for me? What is God's highest vision for you? And what do you need to do to make this vision become a reality in your life? And what do you need to let go of for this vision to be realized within you? Those are the important questions about the visioning process. And I just encourage you to take those with you and to ask yourself those questions, to sit quietly. The visioning doesn't usually result in answers maybe immediately. It may take a while. It may take a long time. But if you do this sincerely and consistently, you will begin to understand what it is that you need to do. There'll be indications. You'll see signs by the side of the road. People will say something. You'll have conversations. You'll have all kinds of indications of what Spirit is there to tell you. As long as you are keyed into this and committed to it, you will understand what it means. I'm very fond of that quote from Michelangelo, where he says that the greatest fear, the greatest difficulty, challenge for all of us, is not that we aim too high and miss the target, but that we aim too low and hit it. We aim too low and hit it. And that's really the challenge for all of us, is to keep our sights set high, to know that that presence of God within us, that seed that's been implanted, is what is there to take us forward, to give us the inspiration, to give us the help. We can use all these different things that we have in this teaching to assist us. Practitioners, prayer partners, ministers, talks, classes. But basically, the work, it has to be done inside of each one of us. Inside each one of us. So what is God's highest vision for me? And what do I need to do to fulfill that vision? To allow that vision to come to be? And what do I need to release and let go of for that vision to become a reality in my life? It is the one thing that will allow you to know that you are truly living the God life, because that is the vision for all of us, to live that God life within us that gives us the total satisfaction that we are doing the right thing, that we are on the right path. And that is what will bring us to that place where Paul says in one of his letters that eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor has it entered into the heart of anyone what things God has prepared for those that love him. That is our destiny. That is why we are here. So let's go into prayer in this moment. Let's just take this time in the silence to know that that infinite Spirit that has brought us to this place, that has given us all these wonderful opportunities to express, to be more than we can be in this time, is here right now for us. It's speaking to us. Are we quiet enough to hear it? Are we quiet enough to listen intently for it? That is what we need to do. Because we are each created in that image and likeness, which is unique, which is special, which is precious. We are the only ones that have those qualities, those abilities. There are no two alike. Nothing is two alike in this creation process. Whether it's blades of grass, flowers, people, animals, anything. We are all different. We are all unique. That is what we are here for, to express that uniqueness. So I give thanks for this time, for this opportunity to be here with all of us, to feel the impact of this center and its work on all of us, and to know that we are truly here for God. So I give thanks for this moment, and we all anchor this time by saying together, and so it is. Thank you.